Hey y'all, it's your girl Toyia T, and do we have a show for you today? This is about nothing but space and opportunity. We have some great guests, and before I welcome them in, I want to say thank you to our platinum sponsors, CET, a PBS station, and OneCom Media and Marketing. Thank you so much for your support. Today's episode is really going to just dive right into these new opportunities and these new industries. With that, I'm going to welcome our guests in and let them give us a quick introduction. Come on in. Hello, hello, hello.
Hey,
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Good to have all of you guys. I'm going to have you just do a brief introduction. I want you to first tell us your name and then what industry you're in, and then how a little bit of how you got there. And usually I say ladies first, but since we don't have any ladies, whoever would like to go first.
I'll go.
Go ahead, Robbie.
All right. Hi, Toya. Nice to be on the show.
Good
My
to have
name is Ravi Fernando. I am a software engineer, computer engineer. I've been in the industry, the software development industry, for about 15 years. And I've been writing mostly software in the Microsoft .NET space. I have a bachelor's in computer engineering from Wright State. I have a graphic design degree from Cincinnati State and several other degrees in software development and so on. I really got into software because my dad is an engineer. Like his whole family was a bunch of engineers. So I tried to get into the graphic design space. I loved it. I'm a very creative type of guy. But then I ended up getting sucked into engineering, and I started, building my career doing software development. Been in the industry for a while now. I started my own company 3 years ago. It's called Cubsoft.com, and we're a software development firm building software for small to medium-sized companies. And I also have a product out there for small businesses that if they need to do any of their, back office stuff as far as marketing outreach, invoicing, getting paid through the services that they've done. So look it up, check it out. But that's a little bit about me.
All right, and you're going to be our resident expert in AI today, right? So we'll look forward to hearing a little bit more about that as we go on. We'll just go in a circle. Dwayne, do you want to go next?
Sure. Thanks for having me on here. Great to speak with everyone and to be a part of this group. So my name is Dwayne Roebuck. I am the retail, hospitality, IoT, and RFID strategy manager at a company, Blue Star. We distribute technology equipment. So globally, we're the largest distributor of point of sale equipment, and we also do digital signage, RFID, network infrastructure, that sort of thing. So I've been working in, let's call it the technology industry now for well over 25 years, 15 in telecom, and then I've been in my present position I've been at my present company for 10 years. And how did I get here? I got here, my background, my undergrad and master's is in business management as well as organizational leadership. And then I took some graduate certs at Cornell. But I really attribute, my success and where I've been, from a standpoint of being embracive of change. The only thing that doesn't change is change. And so, I'm always looking for what's the next best, technology and the next opportunity for us to get into.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad to hear from you today. And you're going to be our resident expert in a little bit AI, a little bit cannabis. You're going to be kind of all around there, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Last but certainly not least.
I'm Jerry Black. Thank you for having me on the show. And I'm a retired aerospace engineer. So my first job was with Bell Aerosystems in the Buffalo, New York area. And I was a rocket test engineer working on the ascent stage for the lunar module, among other engines that I tested. And then I only worked there for about a year or two, and then I came to GE Aerospace, and that's in Evendale, and I worked on jet engines for 39 years.
Wow.
This is how I got into the space and aerospace field. It was really Sputnik 1 that launched in 1957 that got me interested in space, and that's been a lifelong interest, and I've followed that ever since. I'm now in retirement. I'm a member of some space organizations, and I do work with STEM, trying to get the next generation interested in science, technology, engineering, and math.
Awesome. Well, you guys are going to be a wealth of knowledge for us tonight. I can tell.
I know. There's a whiz over here.
Right. We got a rocket scientist, an engineer. We got an IoT. I don't even know. What does IoT stand for, Dwayne?
Internet of Things.
Internet of Things. Okay. See, I should know that. I should know that.
Cloud stuff.
Right.
Connected devices.
Right. So I'm a firm believer that history always repeats itself, right? So is there another era in history that you think this is reminiscent of, like in terms of the times that we're in right now? Because I think that we're starting to see all these new things that are coming along. A lot is changing all at one time. I know, Jerry, you've lived through a lot of these different changes. But is there a time in history for you guys that this is reminiscent of? I know for me, it's like 2000, when we went from like 1999 to 2000, and they made this like big to do about how like Y2K and the world was going to end and all these other things. That's what it feels like for me. Is there a time in the life or an era in life that
is
this time
in our lifetime, or can you be like any
it could be any time. Like even if you researched it and you're like, you know what, this reminds me of the 1920s because that's when the stock market crashed. And
right.
Well, yeah. if I could jump in, at least from a cannabis perspective, I would imagine, and I don't know for sure, I wasn't around during this time, but I would think from a cannabis perspective, it probably resembles the Prohibition era, when alcohol was moving from being illegal to legal, and the challenges that they probably had from that perspective, in terms of, one of the things people talk about is the black market within cannabis. But back then you would have had like speakeasies and bootleggers and things like that. And so fast forward to today, where most of us, we wouldn't think of a day where you couldn't go into a store and pick up alcohol, even though they do still have some dry counties. It's, very rare, and I'm shocked when I run into those instances. So, I envision, I don't know if anyone here has children or grandkids, but, they're going to come up, depending upon the age of your children, definitely your grandchildren, they're going to come up in a day where cannabis, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, is largely, seen as legal and doesn't have the stereotypes, that we've grown up with. Yeah. So that's my period of what this resembles.
And that's kind of like when cigarettes, like I was just going through this nostalgia thing for the 1980s. And I don't know if you remember when cigarettes, you could buy them out of the machine. Like there was no like ID that you had to get or anything. You just go, you put your money in, you pull out the cigarettes, you take them to your parents or whatever, or you smoke them or whatever you're doing, because in the 80s, it just wasn't regulated like that. So
I remember, my stepfather, he smoked, and I remember him sending me down to UDF, convenience store, local to the area. And he had me pick him up Benson and Hedges. And, at the time I wasn't 18. So, yeah, totally see what you're saying. Even though, I don't see cannabis going that route because they're very strict in terms of, age and things like that, even though there are, cannabis dispensing vending machines out there, but typically they're inside. So you have to show ID prior to purchase.
Yeah, but you don't think we're going to get to a point where they're going to have dispensary machines where they like verify all of your information, just like they do with that registration. They got like a registration for your car inside of Meyer. You can get your car registration there. You just have to put your little license in, and they verify it's you, and then it pops out a sticker, and all of a sudden you're registered to drive and go on about your life.
No. The technology is definitely there. I work with some software providers that have that technology where they can match, your ID to your biometrics, so that all of that is possible. So, the technology is there. I just don't know that the appetite from our lawmakers is there just right now.
They're making it very difficult.
It's all you can do right now in some states and some localities to have dispensaries there because of the improper perceptions and things like that. They see them as crime areas, when if you look at the research in more established states, you're actually substantially more likely to get robbed at a convenience store than you are at any dispensary, because most have armed security.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I
want to hear what Robbie and Jerry have to say.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Okay.
That was a great comparison.
Okay, yeah, I'll jump in. Currently, the space program is going through a period of very rapid growth and change, and this reminds me of the period from 1957 when Sputnik 1 was launched to the early 70s after we landed on the moon and the Apollo missions were over. And during that period, we developed all the first crewed spacecraft, and we developed orbital rendezvous and spacewalks and all the things we needed that enabled us to land on the moon. And right now, unfortunately, that rapid progress didn't last because main reason all the rockets were expendable, and it was exceedingly expensive, and you couldn't sustain it. But right now, we're making very rapid progress, mainly because of the company SpaceX, and they have developed partially reusable rockets in their Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, and they're developing a fully reusable rocket with their Starship. And that's just going to cause the launch price to plummet, and everything's going to move ahead very rapidly. So I feel a little lucky. I was present during that earlier period when all that progress was being made, and now I'm seeing some of the new progress, and it's pretty fantastic.
Well, I heard they're going to start having like hot air balloons and stuff, Jerry. Like they're going to have cruise ships going to space and start building houses, and people are already buying plots of land. Is that true?
Yes, they do have. Somebody's working on these tourists with the hot air balloons that go up into the stratosphere very, very high, like much higher than airplanes fly, and they get a good view of the Earth. But also orbital flight, well, there's suborbital with Blue Origin, and there's going to be orbital flights with the SpaceX Dragon. There already is. And as soon as they have full reusability, the prices are going to plummet. And that's coming in the next few years. So that's going to cause a pretty huge increase in space tourism. And that's going to be a very big field in the future.
That's awesome. Do you think SpaceX is going to lead that charge, or do you think like NASA is going to become, offering flights for regular people?
SpaceX is definitely going to lead the charge. NASA isn't really, they're encouraging the space tourism, but they're not into it themselves.
Right.
And it's becoming more and more commercial, what the accomplishments, it's the commercial industry that's really starting to blossom. And NASA is more or less acting as encourager of all that's happening in the commercial world.
Mm.
I plan on keeping my feet right here on the earth.
Listen,
Right.
I can get on a space balloon. I would be open to like just going checking it out. As long as y'all give me the right equipment, my head ain't gonna explode when I go past like a stratosphere or something, and I'm down. But I'm not gonna be the early majority. I'm gonna be late majority. I'm gonna be a laggard a little bit.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you gotta let the technology flesh out a little bit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Right. I'm gonna let a couple of y'all blow up first, and then I'll go check it out. Robbie, what point in time does it remind you of?
You know, when we talk about different periods, I guess it's all about paradigm shifts, right? When things like you went from, horse and buggy to cars, when you went from, wood stoves to electricity and lights. So I think when it concerns AI, I think it's more common to akin to the late 1970s, when personal computing started coming out. You had personal computers, people were starting to do things that they would do manually using computers to write stuff. So I worked in printing and publishing, and I remember when they started using computers to create all the films and all that stuff instead of people doing it. So, there's a time where, the workforce changes to from people that did manual stuff to now people that repair robots that do their manual stuff. So I think this is a huge time. It's a very, very interesting and a little bit scary time because computers are taking on more and more responsibilities that people once had,
Right.
And they're kind of helping the financial industry figure out, what the best strategy to make money is, which is scary. They're, those fractional seconds where they're doing stock exchanges, they're coming in there real quick and they're trying to get as close to the stock market physical location to make those quick trades, and it's kind of scary, but at the same time, it's I think it's going to be very useful for just humanity in general. Especially when it comes to from AI to space exploration, because humans I don't think are meant to be out in space. We like our steak and lobsters and going out to the bars and doing fun stuff. I just don't think we're built to go out in space and spend 60 years out there. I think that's better served for a machine to do that.
Okay.
So I think. Right now, it's that time where things are changing. It's going to be a huge energy revolution. I don't think we can rely on oil and gas anymore. I think Honda, Toyota, they're coming out with different, not just electric cars, but hybrid, hydrogen powered cars that, converted to electricity. And now there's self-driving cars that, see, explore the world around them, see what's happening, how things are changing. And it's not perfect, but I think they're getting there very quickly. And I would say within the next 10 years, we're going to have self-driving cars that are.
Yeah. Well, have you seen the flying? It's like a flying drone where you could take it in some of the higher, some of the cities that have a lot of traffic. They have like a one-person drone that you can fly yourself to work kind of thing to get over top of the commuters.
I've seen that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Put it in a briefcase.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I'm in the Jetson era, so I'm all for flying cars. I've been looking forward to them since I was like 5.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a bit cautious. Kobe was into that too,
Too soon.
I mean, you got to live on the edge a little bit, Dwayne. You got to live on the edge.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about what opportunities exist in your industries in particular. So when you think about AI or space, what are the opportunities that exist, and what can people start thinking about from an entrepreneurial standpoint or an employment standpoint?
Absolutely. Who wants to go first?
Well, you talking? Go ahead.
All right. Okay. I'll go first.
Go ahead, Robbie. Kick us
All
off.
right. So for me, I'm always into helping, empowering people to fulfill their goals, fulfill their dreams, right, Toya? I mean, we talked about this earlier. So I think the best opportunity right now is for people that are not tech savvy, not really too much of an engineering type, to get into technology, software, and start making a business out of that, utilizing and leveraging AI. So Chat GPT, I'm a software engineer, and I say, hey, Chat GPT, I don't want to sit here and write a little bit of code to do this and that. Can you tell me in C#, which is this language that I code in, can you write me a program that does X, Y, Z? And 85% of it is spot on to where I need it. Now, when it comes to like super duper technical problems, you need a little bit of tweaking, but I think this is a great opportunity to leverage.
Can AI code? Can it give you code in any language, or is it only
any language?
Any language.
You could say in Python, you could say C++, whatever the case is. And, and it'll tell you at the bottom of the page, oh, you need to do this, or you need to add this library from NuGet or whatever. It'll tell you exactly what you got to do to get this code working just perfectly. You know what I mean? So
wow.
It's amazing. And I think that I always tell these young guys and young ladies, hey, try to get into software, because it's a very lucrative market. I mean, you could go from doing a boot camp to making $100,000 in 2-3 years. If you're really good and you put you leverage Chat GPT. I mean,
right. You don't need all that code, everything. Just learn how to use chat.
Yeah, go for it.
Right, use the modern day Cliff Notes.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's not cheating. When I was in an engineering school, I had a professor that says, you either are a genius or you work on your Google foo, as he calls it. So, I got good at Googling stuff. And
that was actually well, to Robbie's point, that was always something that I struggled with when I was in college. Because they want you to do independent work, but when you get into the workforce, everything very rarely do you start from a very beginning, point. There's always something for you to build off of.
Yeah.
So, like for me,
right.
So for me, like talking about cannabis, most people, when they think about cannabis, they think about, things that are more plant touching, like growing and cultivating, or, processing, manufacturing, where you take the flower and then, convert it into edibles, extracts, shatter, dab, what have you, and then the dispensary. But there are plenty of opportunities that are non-plant touching. So, if you're looking for plant touching opportunities, a lot of, there are more and more universities are now coming up with cannabis programs, and you're seeing in cities like Chicago and other areas where they're doing social equity. They're looking at community colleges to, take somebody who might be on, and I'm not trying to generalize or stereotype, but I do know of an instance where a young lady who didn't have a job, she was living on, the system, and she got one of those certifications that was being offered at a community college. And so she went from no income to over $50,000 a year in a matter of months. So, it really depends. And then, you can get into servicing those organizations, because we look at cannabis as if it's some, different industry. The reality of it is, me and my organization, we see cannabis as just a sub-vertical within retail. The only difference is, you walk into a Walgreens, you can buy whatever. you walk into a dispensary, you're purchasing cannabis product. The major difference is, the laws and the perceptions around it, and a lot of those are coming down. So we have resellers who are doing very well in the cannabis industry in terms of selling them printers, labels, RFID readers. Ravi spoke earlier about machines replacing people. We look at what we call it operational efficiency, not necessarily to displace or replace people, but in retail, people just in retail and hospitality, people don't want to work. They don't want to work in those industries because of the hours and things like that. So it's how do you enable your employees to do to do more with less people. So instead of having if we look at a hotel or something, instead of maybe having somebody check you in, how do we enable that the individual to check themselves in so that the front desk person can handle more or less mundane things, if that makes sense. So there's plenty of opportunity. If you want to touch the plant, that opportunity is there. If you don't, there's tons of opportunity to be in the industry and not touch the plant.
Absolutely. Jerry, bring us home. What about the opportunities in space?
That's for last year.
Well, the good news is that the space industry is booming with job opportunities. And not only are there lots of jobs, but they're high-paying jobs and jobs that can provide a sense of accomplishment. Just to name a few, there are jobs available in manufacturing and maintaining launch vehicles and spacecraft. There are also jobs in engineering and technology. And of course, we need the software, so there are plenty of software jobs to make the systems work. And we mentioned, there are also science jobs related to space, such as astronomy or planetary science. And then we mentioned earlier that there'll be a lot of jobs in the space tourism industry. And then there will also be entrepreneurial type jobs. The success of the SpaceX company has already inspired a whole bunch of companies, many new startups, which have put in their foot in the door to try to succeed and to make their mark in the industry. So that's the good thing. My advice is just to keep up with industry news and trends and try to find a discipline that most appeals to you, and then just go for it. Right. Once you decide on that industry or discipline, then you'll need to pursue the relevant education and training to succeed.
Absolutely.
And
Well, we are at
Can I
time.
chime in?
I want you guys to give your contact information real quick so that we can thank our sponsors. Jerry, if you could give your contact information, and Dwayne, just go back around.
Sure. My email is gblack@cincy.rr.com.
Yep. Ravi, it's my contact information is rfernando or rfernando@cubsoft.com. That's my company, and that's my email. So that's my LinkedIn at Ravi Fernando.
Yeah, you can look me up on LinkedIn. My work email is droebuck@bluestar BLUESTARINC.com.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys all being with us tonight. And they also have the Ohio Mars Society. If folks are interested in the space arena, and you want to be a space, I don't know, recreational space person, who knows what might come next. So with that, I'd like to say thank you guys for showing up tonight and just imparting a little knowledge upon our viewers. And with that, we're going to go ahead and thank our sponsors. Today's episode of The Plug is sponsored by the following companies. At the platinum level, we have CET, a PBS station. CET is your home for the arts in Greater Cincinnati. Also at the platinum level, we have OneCom Media and Marketing. OneCom Media and Marketing is an award-winning website design and digital marketing agency that works with top brands to tell their stories and get more leads to convert to actual sales. Stop chasing after business. Let the experts at OneCom Media and Marketing help you implement a digital marketing program that drives the business to you. At the gold level, we have Leafy Products. Leafy Products is the first Black-owned sustainable toilet paper company in Ohio. Do your part to go green and stay clean. Purchase today at getleafyproducts.com. At the silver level, we have Alpha Wolf Aerials. Alpha Wolf Aerials offers unparalleled aerial photography, videography, inspection, and search and rescue services. Elevate your perspective with their cutting-edge technology and commitment to excellence, ensuring high-quality results for all your aerial needs. Connect with them on Instagram at alpha_wolf_aerials and discover the difference with Alpha Wolf Aerials, mastering the sky, leading the pack. Last but certainly not least, at the bronze level, we have Today's Mail. Today's Mail is a local and over-the-road, on-demand, and scheduled delivery service who provides safe and sufficient deliveries. They can be reached at 513-300-0546 for all your local and over-the-road delivery needs. The Plug thanks all of our sponsors for helping us keep you connected.